listening to Pop This, the podcast where three women talk about pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen, Andrea Gin, and Andrea Warner.
All right, so I need a little bit of help here. I think I've mentioned on this podcast that I really enjoy journaling.
Yes.
And scrapbooking and everything. And, I was going through some things and not like literally going through like boxes, no, like in my head going through things.
Yep.
And one of the things I realized was I felt like my journals were just filled with me angsting about the same problems page after page, year after year. And I bought a new journal and I have it here and it's so nice. Look at this. So how beautiful this is.
Ooh,
oh, wow.
Fancy.
It's gold and I have not written one word in it and I've had it for 2 months. And it's very weird. I just can't seem to compel myself to write anymore. And I don't know if I will ever again. I'm like worried about becoming that same person who just whinged about the same things every day. And now I just won't write. And I think this is the longest ever in my life that I haven't written in a journal.
But like, does it really feel better to keep it in your head? Because it sounds like you're writing in your head. You're just not getting it out of your system.
Yeah, I don't have a record for my lameness, is what you're saying.
No. Well, again, lameness is your word. That's
I know.
But I just think I think the physical act, I think that's one of the things that writing does for us. Even if we're like writing about the same things over and over again, come on. What great writers haven't actually just like rewritten the same book basically like several times and just, added a few different characters like that. I don't think you need to worry so much about that. I think the physical act of writing is one of the releases for you. And that's important to your process.
Because I would say that too, because it's like you're doing your journaling for you. You're not doing it for other people.
I know, but it's just a weird, I really honestly, now that I said it out loud, that was helpful because I feel like if I don't write it down, there's no record of the fact that I seem to still always have the same issues, it's just like, I try really hard. I think a large part of the journaling is also from that Julia Cameron book, The Artist's Way. Do you know that one?
I do know it. I have never done it, but I do know it.
Yeah.
Heard of it.
Yeah. So, there are lots of instructions, but one of the big ones from the book is that you do 2 pages every day of what she calls morning pages. And so you just start out every morning and you sit down and you just write 2 pages. Mm-hmm. And you don't think about what it is. And I've tried to do that, but it whinges back in again all of a sudden where I'm like, all the things I'm worried about or all the things I don't like about myself. And it just feels like this long saga of pain.
Well, I think it's stuff that wants to come out of you. Like if you keep it inside, it's not really, you're not hiding from it any differently. You know what I mean?
No, I know. But do either of you journal?
No.
I'm not a journaler.
Oh.
No. Mm-hmm. I periodically did when I was like a teenager and stuff. And I used to write a lot of poetry, but I just write too much in my regular life. So,
But do you ever look back on your journals from a few years ago and think, who was that person? I'm a totally different person now.
You see, that's what I was wishing for, but no, as it turned out.
I don't know. I think I bet there are differences because but it sounds like sometimes like one of the things that I would personally if you were me and if I was doing this and I was thinking these kinds of things, I would, and I have literally done this before. And I've also made my friends do it before where I have to write a list of the 10 best things about myself just to force myself to do it. Cause I know it sounds hokey, but honestly, it really helps. And then what I used to do with my friends is we each had to write, I had to write my 10 favorite things. Say I had to write 10 favorite things about you and 10 favorite things about AG. Mm-hmm. You had to both do it for me and, and then we had to give them to each other. And then we just had to carry them in our wallets for until they fell apart, so that we could always have them as like, nice things to look at periodically when we needed a little boost.
Well, that's nice. I
sounds
like
nice.
that. Yeah.
It was
Or-
really nice.
I was thinking, what if you transferred that creativity to a different medium? Like I recently saw on Facebook that this guy he has a painting that he's been working on for 10 years. Just every day, he just adds a little bit to the painting and it's never finished. And it's just this like ongoing thing.
I like
he
this
has.
idea. Yeah. Yeah. I
Oh,
could.
And
collage is also
like, he
really
only
fun.
I like
paints-
collaging. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you do that? And then
Yeah, no,
have
I'd
like
do
a
something, yeah.
sort of book of your collages. Because I find like in my job, I do like audio storytelling. And sometimes like I go back and listen to things I put together like a year ago. And I'm like, why did I choose those things? Like,
Yeah.
what was I thinking? And like, I would do something totally different if I did it now. And so it's kind of interesting to have like, I think some kind of creative medium to show yourself, like how you're changing in life.
Or not.
Oh.
You know.
Or not. Like, that's fine too.
Yeah.
I just like, I do think like, and I think also like maybe you've put too much like stock into the prettiness of this book.
Yeah,
Like,
it looks too nice to write in, first
like
of
it-
all.
Yeah.
Well, no, but like, especially if you're having these like slightly like, more negative thoughts about like yourself, I just think if you wanted to sort of like crack that book and like exercise that little demon, writing yourself a little nice note in that front page might be a way to just break through a tiny bit.
Well, I will try that tomorrow morning.
Cool.
I will try
Also-
writing something.
Morning might not be your time. Like,
Oh,
it
no,
could
morning's
be.
my time.
You love morning, so yeah.
I love
Okay,
morning. In the evenings, I die. I mean, there's nothing left. Like, you're just getting the remnants of me when we record at 7. Like, honestly.
those rare Sunday mornings when we jump on at like 10 a.m. That's like
Boom,
just a
I'm
totally
on. I'm
different
ready. Let's
mindset.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
Whereas I am like non-functional.
Yeah. No, I think that's like, I don't know, that's like kind of, I also think that like if you don't want to write in this special notebook of yours at all, but you did want to like suddenly like make collages or sketch or something, like I think there's, you can make that book what you want it to be.
Yeah, no, I just had yes, I'm glad we did this because it's helped, and I will put something in it. I used to start my every day when I did my journal. This has got to be like an Oprah lesson or something, but I would write down 3 things that I was grateful for. Yeah, the day before.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice. Also, I will say, like, one of the like most fun things that I've ever heard is this like singer-songwriter. She was talking about how like none of her notebooks are precious. Like her notebooks where she dabbles like lines and poems and thoughts, whatever, also contain all her shopping lists.
Yeah.
Her like doctor's instructions. Like nothing is precious and therefore everything is precious, but she really believes nothing's precious. Anyway, and like all of her notebooks are just like kind of the one thing she will do is date every corner of the page so she can at least keep track of like when stuff was happening. But like, yeah, you're as likely to like, if you flip through a notebook, you might find like a brilliant song lyric, and you also will find that like she just really needed creative apples or something, like, and
Right. Yeah.
I like that too. I mean, it's not for me personally, but I can see why like that would be a good thing for someone who's like a musician to just like really sort of like not get caught up in their own hype.
Mm-hmm. Is she famous? Do we know who she is?
She is famous, and we do know who she is.
Intriguing.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
But yeah, I like it. It's I think it's fun.
Oh no, I definitely, yeah, no, I'm feeling, I always buy, like, I have a problem with paper, like when I go to a notebook store or something, it's really hard not to come out with all kinds of things.
Do people buy you notebooks a lot?
Not as much as I would like them to.
Oh, okay. Well, that's I feel like for several years, a lot of people bought me notebooks, and I now have like a very large container in my bedroom of beautiful notebooks that I used to go through all the time because I would go and review theater and I'd have to like take notes and I'd, do a bunch of stuff. I don't do that anymore. I don't review movies anymore. Like most of my writing is all, type, clack, clack, clack. Very rarely in notebooks. So
But it's like becoming a person who's known for liking cats. Then everybody buys you a cat.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. No, that's exactly what it is. So yeah, if I at some point in the future decide to divest of my notebooks, Lisa, you're the first person.
I am here for that.
You get first dibs because you'll appreciate. And
I will fill them all. I mean, I will get back on. I know.
I know you will.
It's tough. I don't know why. It was just like I got in my head, and suddenly in the morning when I looked at it, it's easy to break a habit. It actually is.
Oh, absolutely. It's also
it's hard to make one. It's easy to break one.
For sure. You just need one day that you crack, and that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also think I don't know. Sometimes that's why the actual physical thing of even if you're just writing the F word over and over and over again for 2 pages, the physical act is the useful part, because it's not really about the quality of what you're actually writing.
That scares me a bit. It sounds like The Shining.
Well, sure. I mean, yeah, I think writing Red Rum for 40 pages over and over and over again, that is alarming. So if we, if it was 2 months of 2 hours or 2 months of 2 pages a day of just the F word over and over again, yeah, that's intervention time.
Yeah. I'll let you know.
But who would know?
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
I feel strongly we would have a sense. If that was if that was your mindset every day, how you started out your day for 2 months, I would like to think we'd catch on by week 4.
I feel that would. I feel there would be a disturbance in the force.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to, but I wouldn't count on it. There's got to be we have to have other fail safes in place.
We have other backups. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll work on those.
There's always that game that's if you were kidnapped and you had to phone.
Yeah.
And you the sentence that would tell the other person that it's not you're in trouble.
Yes.
And I always say mine is, oh, I'm so full from dinner I couldn't possibly eat dessert. If I ever
now we know. Wow.
That's
you
good.
would know.
That's good. That's truly good. That's truly good. Look, we've really worked some stuff out today.
And we're going to work out some more things.
Yeah, because, oh my God, this movie was therapy for me.
Who knew? Who knew? I watched it. I was like, this is a hilarious romp. I love these two. It's great. And it never occurred to me that it would be therapy for you.
I literally had to check and see if I had ever had any encounters with the writer of this film.
Really?
Just because I was like, God.
That's very revealing.
Truly, just a real melange of facts about me and my family.
Just on the surface, what we know is that your husband, Carlos, is a trivia master.
Yep.
Who has been on Jeopardy.
Yep.
So in this scenario, he is Anne, and you are more the Jenny.
No, that's the crazy thing is that it's just details from my life that have been applied to all the characters. Because nothing is literal, but everything is literal and then applied to other. Anyway, look, I can't wait to get into this.
You know what? I like to think of you as the Sandra Oh character in this movie.
I mean, that would be
I
great.
do not,
Yeah.
but that's okay. Okay.
I mean, it would be great. I would love to always be Sandra Oh, but I fear that I am probably, God, I might be Ben Franklin. Anyway, okay. I'm Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
And you're listening to Pop This. And if you don't know already, we are talking about a relatively newly released
Buddy comedy.
Buddy comedy, unpromoted film because of the strike. But Quiz Lady.
Yay.
I'm so excited. So excited. I really I did not go in expecting that I would be thinking, someone found my diaries. And this is
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's too much. It's too much, frankly. And yet I want more. So Lisa, would you like to read our background first?
Absolutely. Yes. Quiz Lady is a 2023 American comedy film directed by Jessica Yu and written by Jen D'Angelo. The film stars Awkwafina, Sandra Oh, Jason Schwartzman, Holland Taylor, Tony Hale, John Dumbfounded Park, and Will Ferrell. Ferrell, Awkwafina, and Oh also served as the film's producers, along with Jessica Elbaum, Maggie Haskins, Ite Reese, and D'Angelo. Quiz Lady premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival on September 9th, 2023, and was released by 20th Century Studios via Hulu in the United States on November 3rd, 2023. So we are really fresh to this.
We're like surprisingly fresh to this. You can watch it on Disney Plus here in Canada.
It's been on my radar for a while, being a avid follower of Sandra Oh and Awkwafina.
Oh, absolutely. And I had seen the trailer for sure. I'm just like so delighted that we were able to access it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
AG, would you like to read the synopsis, please?
Sure. A fun new take on the classic comedic trope of polar opposites. Awkwafina plays Anne, an uptight, lonely trivia nerd. Her sister Jenny, played by Sandra Oh, is the outgoing, perpetual screw-up. Together, they must set aside their differences to try and win a TV game show and save Anne's kidnapped dog. And that is via NPR.
So you might be saying, is the entry point here that I am an uptight, lonely trivia nerd? I am outgoing, perpetual screw-up. Do I have a dog? None of these things are like really exclusively me. But I will get into it. But first I want to know just like what your guys' thoughts were about the movie. Like, what did you like? Did you read yourselves into this movie? Anybody? No? Oh. Some real big eyes and silence.
Nobody can see us, but you could. So
no, that's cool.
Ooh,
I felt that silence spoke volumes.
Well, I'm sorry to say I hadn't heard of this movie until you mentioned it. And when I finished it, I was like, wow, this is one of those movies where you just wish they made more. They were like, I was thinking screwball comedy too. Just like, I had the road trip on it and the buddy comedy. So it had all of those things. But, it was just so refreshing, I think, honestly, too, to not have to deal with some romance, which is like the usual.
Yeah.
And so I was really thrilled. Unless you mean Awkwafina and Will Ferrell, but that's a whole other kind of affection. But yeah, it felt like a movie like I hadn't seen in a long time, and it it almost seemed like it was made just to be fun. Like, let's just do something fun.
Yeah.
And with the exception of the dog being kidnapped, which I found very traumatic. But it all worked out for Linguini. Just for everybody, I've mentioned this before on this podcast that there is that site. Does the dog die? You don't have to look it up. Linguini is fine, and I don't feel bad spoiling that because I think that is important information for animal lovers.
Yeah, and I would say, in all honesty, it seems like a lot of those dogs are having the time of their lives, having been dog napped.
Yeah, well, that was a twist. I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. AG, what about you?
Oh, I mean, it kind of reminded me of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, like that kind of screwball buddy comedy. And that's a movie that I really love watching over and over again. But yeah, there needs to be more mismatched buddy comedies. This is, I mean, like I really enjoyed seeing Sandra Oh in a comedy. Like you don't often see her doing this type of role. And I thought she was fantastic. And the only thing is I kind of wish I had seen it in a theater because it feels like one of those movies that's kind of would better to watch when is a group of people and they're all like laughing together at something. So I kind of like, I feel like the theatrical screening of it would probably like improve the experience. But other than that, I thought it was, yeah, it's a happy, fun movie. And I loved it actually.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun too. And it has like some surprisingly poignant moments as well, but they like keep the comedy right there to sort of like jolt it out of like being too sort of like weepy or whatever, but they still have the heart there. And I really love that balance. Like I think that that's not done as well in some other films, like, or some other comedies might sacrifice like a bit of heart, to just focus on the laugh. And I think that this movie is like pretty great about balancing some of those. I mean, obviously it's like more laughter than the heart part, but I think it's doing some like kind of like sophisticated moments of commentary about our culture and our society and some of its obsessions and like
Awkwafina's like kind of posture is a whole study unto
it's
itself.
A very physical performance. Like it's so good. And like the sort of like slightly sort of like dirty wig that she's wearing and like it's like, or not dirty but like kind of like slightly greasy wigs, like it's, I just think
and
like
her whole office life.
Yes. Oh my God, that
Wow.
office life is dismal.
You know what it had also? Like it really had a hero's journey.
Yes.
It was like almost, I did like all the beats in this story are like watching The Hobbit, like the refusal of the adventure.
Yep.
I'll stay in my safe place, all of these things. And then, at the I'm jumping ahead, but at the end, this adventure took off. It changed her life, right? But she had to make the call. There was the first refusal, then, so I love stories like that.
Yeah, and the multiple refusals all feel understandable and earned. Okay, so like
Okay, let's
okay,
let's get
just
into the
unpack
nuts and
it for
bolts
me.
here.
Okay, fine. So obviously my name's Andrea, but like most of my family and my best friends call me Anne. My sister's name is Jen. So there's this entry point. My whole family on my one side has some gambling issues. So the gambling addicted mother is not my situation with my mom, but there's certainly gambling addiction issues on my one side of the family. Not to the extent that anyone's ever dog napped anybody or anything, but can I see it someday getting there? Maybe, because not great.
So there
Anyway.
are actual loan sharks involved in this?
There's no loan sharks. I mean, I've got like some petty criminals for sure that I'm related to and like doing nonsense. And I'm sure they, yes, have loan shark issues, but like I stay away from that. So in terms of immediate closeness, obviously, yes. Also, Carlos was on Jeopardy. He came in second. It had been a lifelong dream of his. But
also that you helped him train.
I helped him train for it, and we did all the studying, and like we ran games in our living room, and had people come over and practice the buzzer, all that stuff.
And you went on the trip with him to go.
We went on the trip. I'm almost positive that they were at the same studio because I feel like that building we were on the lot at Sony. Like it was very similar to what they were going into. This idea that like I was so glad that they let the Will Ferrell character, the host of the quiz show, be everything that Anne had hoped. Because I will tell you, meeting Alex Trebek not what I had hoped or what I had thought of. I really didn't care much for him when I interacted with him. I mean, minimally, like I was I was in the audience. They taped 5 episodes a day. And so Carlos got called on the very last episode. So I had been there all day. And Carlos had been in the back like the whole time in the green room or whatever. And or maybe he was sitting in the where the contestants sit. I can't really remember if the contestants get to watch or not. But anyway, I was sitting there with Carlos's parents, and Alex came out during one of the breaks. He came out a couple times. And, again, the man is dead. He's a perfectly fine man. I'm not saying he's not. However, some of his takes on things I was objecting to, because he would take some questions from the audience that was there. And one of the questions that was asked was like, hey, have you noticed a gender difference in how people bet? And again, this is over 10 years ago, might be 14 years ago. And he was like, yeah, the men tend to bet pretty aggressively, and women bet as if it's coming out of their pocketbook for their shopping allowance. Something to that effect. And I just about fell out of my chair.
Wow.
Then later, someone asked about how he felt about legalization of marijuana.
Why are they asking? That's a bizarre question.
I mean, at least it wasn't the crowd response of like, it's more of a comment than a question. Like they were still asking questions. Anyway, people are wild. They really should not be invited to ask questions in public. Anyway, so they asked him about legalization, and he said, and I believe I am quoting extremely accurately here, people can't control their chocolate consumption. How could you expect them to control their marijuana consumption? And I thought, oh, good. Fat shaming on top of being anti-legalization. And this is good. This is great. So that is my view of Alex Trebek in terms of the things that made me the most upset that day. Anyway, so there's that piece. And then in the film, Awkwafina's character has a lot of anxiety, and especially it affects her ability to poop in a stranger's house, like her cousin's home. I have a very shy colon, cannot go in anyone else's home. Absolutely would be like that kid holding it for 2 weeks until basically my colon threatened to burst and then taking a poop in the yard. I 1,000% identified with that moment in a way that, honestly, when we got to that part of the film, Carlos and Grandma were both like, "Wow, this is specific to you." I was like, "Yeah, no, I know, yeah." I'm trying to. There were other points of contact for me, but those are all my big ones.
How did Carlos feel about the depiction of Jenny as like this quiz genius?
Anne was the quiz genius.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Anne.
Yeah.
Did he feel it was like accurate?
No, but he started playing along. So he was trying to beat Anne at the answers while it was happening. And he did very well, I got to say. So, that was... I feel like he also read himself into Anne quite a bit. Him and I, a real mixture of Anne. I do have a little bit of Jenny in me, but Jenny, I think, is a little bit more like my sister for sure.
You know what I felt, and I don't know why. This must be a part of me. We're talking about this therapy.
Yeah.
But when I saw this, tornado of a woman come into the house with Jenny, and she's so like messy in all the ways that word can imply.
Yeah. Yep.
I felt so stressed. I could feel like my body like sharpening, and I felt so much anxiety. And I just felt like, I thought I could not handle that. Just the way she was pulling her hair off, watching TV. I thought I might throw up.
Pulling the hair off and throwing it on the ground was so funny to me. Like that, that is 100% what my sister would do if she wore extensions. 100%.
Oh, I was very upset. I thought if I came across like hair, I would throw up. I would like on the spot, hands on my knees, just throw up right there. So it was just up, and then I was so, whenever they stick an animal in a movie, it's always bad. Something bad's going to happen. I know this, and it happened. So I should say a lot of this movie made me very anxious.
I mean, I think
I can see that.
That's what Awkwafina's performance can really convey and capture. And I think that's like Anne's character's journey. Like that's, the movie successfully affects you that way. And that it makes sense to me. Like I was torn between the sort of like anxiety that Anne was feeling about things and just like how she didn't want to be seen. She didn't want to be laughed at. Like I feel a lot of empathy and love for Anne, but I also couldn't help but laugh when Jenny's having this like deep, meaningful conversation, and it turns out it's just the person who was trying to bring her like a cup of tea and had been at the table for 20 minutes. I was like, oh, I have done that. Like that is me a little bit. Like that, like me just like deciding that I'm gonna like tell you how to like reinvent your life in the space of like 5 minutes of meeting you. Yeah.
Wow. I don't think I take that much of an interest in people, but thank you for being you.
Thank you. I also, though, sorry, the other thing I was just going to say is that I really, really, really wanted to like, I aspire to be the quiz show guy. Cause like, I also think like one of my great joys in life is just talking to people. And like, when he's saying those really beautiful things about how he doesn't like, he's just glad that he got a chance to talk to the person and that they got a chance to play the game. Like, I love that. I was like, oh my God, these are literal life philosophies that I have like in the back of my brain all the time that now Will Ferrell is saying as Terry McTeer. And I had to check and see, have I ever communicated with Jen D'Angelo? Do we know each other? What is happening? And nothing. Like, I don't know her, but I feel like somehow she secretly knows me.
Well, I mean, looking at it now, like I can sort of see myself relating a bit to Francine, the Holland Taylor, like really crotchety,
100%, yeah.
neighbor. Also, not because of being like a crotchety person entirely, but also because the only time I've been involved in trivia was when Carlos needed like basically a seat warmer for his team and called the day before and was like, can you just come and be on my team? And I was like, yeah, of course. I want to win. And so like, I just canceled everything and then like show up for this tournament. I don't think I maybe contributed to answering like 2 questions out of, 100. It was really terrible. Carlos just answered everything. And then our team like won. And it was just this like, yeah, I guess I'm Francine. I'm like this rando that is pulled along for the journey and like riding someone's coattails to try and feel some reflected trivia glory, even though it's totally unearned.
I totally thought you were going to say that you're Francine because you just love a good fanny pack.
That too. Sure.
Oh my God. This is another like little, I mean, we always spoil all the films that we talk about because we talk about them with like a lot of detail, but like it was so nice to know that this was Paul Rubens' last role.
Yeah.
And he had this beautiful, lovely little moment. And that the whole joke of it is that
Is Alan coming?
Yeah. And then Francine is just like, he's my favorite actor, but like I had never seen the similarities between the two of them before, but of course they actually are extremely physically similar.
I hadn't noticed it, but you're right. Yeah.
It's so funny. And like just watching her like do this like joyriding golf cart circles with him is so cute. I love this for him. Love it.
Yeah, but I have to say, I think everybody too watching the movie probably gets a little anxious around this whole idea of trivia because, you know, like I've had a couple of team trivia experiences. One was I went for a night of Seinfeld, and I thought I knew my stuff. I did not. I was nothing compared to these people. Like our team it was fine that we lost. It was okay because these people's lives were very consumed by Seinfeld, even more than mine. And then I went on another team trivia, but, you know, I was doing the best I could. But there was one member of this team I got shoved on that was extremely unpleasant every time we didn't get a point and was kind of like blamey that everyone else on the team wasn't holding their weight. And
I hate that.
I just wanted, like, first of all, I got roped into it, like I said. I wanted to go home so bad. So I was nearly at the point of being in one of those movie moments where I just grab a person inappropriately and just tell them off to their face, but did not. I just went home.
Wow.
It's
such a climactic story, but
some trivia players, having been party to the trivia community for a number of years now, some trivia players are truly awful.
Mm-hmm.
Just truly, truly awful. And I mean, some are obviously wonderful, but like there are a few who are really. There was this one guy. We had traveled, and as part of like we went to the East Coast, and mostly it was a vacation, but part of it was for Carlos and some of his friends to play a pop culture trivia tournament. We had to go to Baltimore, and they played, and one of the guys was such a sore loser that they weren't doing better, that he like basically had an actual fit, and I think quit like midway through the day or something. I can't remember exactly what happened. And so like suddenly I had to, or maybe somebody couldn't come or something or whatever. And so I was like, well, I guess I can fill in. I was just going to like watch or whatever. And he said, well, you're better than an empty chair.
Whoa.
That was his assessment of me.
Dear.
And God, I hate this guy. I still don't like him. Anyway, yeah, like just some truly petty awfulness lurks at the darkest edges of trivia.
In my one brush with serious trivia tournaments and that team I went onto with Carlos, like it was surprisingly like had a bit of a dark side to it.
Yeah.
Extremely competitive people are not
competitive.
Like everyone's favorites. That's for sure. Like it's not a quality that anyone's like, oh, I'm really looking what I like in a friend. You know, they're, you know, like they'll buy me dinner and they're really competitive when we play board games. No one has ever said that.
Like, I mean, I can be pretty competitive. It's not one of my shinier, happier qualities, but like but I can also just like know that something is not a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's
exactly.
just like you kind of got to pick and choose when you're going to bring your own weird crap to a situation, and when you're just going to be like, oh, everyone on the team wants to be competitive. Cool, then that's fun. But like if you're just being a bully and competitive, that's not cool. That's
so
like,
Carlos has never had to stop you, slap your face, and go, snap out of it like that.
No.
Okay.
I like, you know, I feel like the quiz show that they play in this, he absolutely would do very well in. Like, I think it's like a bit of it's an interesting quiz thing. Cause like, I like the framework. I like the quiz that they designed for this movie. Like, it's very different than Jeopardy. It's very different than a lot of other quiz shows in my mind. And just like the charades element at the end of it is a wild left turn. Like,
but hilarious.
So funny. Like, so funny. But I love that we get into like the sister telepathy of just like, you know, even if you have been estranged a little bit, if you grew up in the same house and you lived in the same space for any amount of time, you have a shared language, you have a shared foundation. And I really love the way that they sort of like dig into that at the end. It's really, I thought it was very successful.
Like your sister does a squat and you know immediately what she's talking about.
Honestly, 1,000%. Yeah, like like to this day, like this is like not even joking, but like to this day, like if I think of my sister sort of unbidden, chances are she's going to call me within the next 5 minutes.
Wow.
It's really weird. It's really weird. Yeah. I don't know.
Would she take credit, you know, like say that she pooped in a hole though? I mean, that's kind of the
She would 1,000%.
standard.
She would 1,000% do that for me. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I got to say.
I can see that too.
Yeah, you've met her, you know.
Well, I've met her. I know that. Yes.
Yeah, she
would have zero problems.
Zero problems
with that.
She's pretty defensive of me. So like 100%, like she would. I mean, it was sort of interesting to see the, like in this film, the 10-year age difference, like sort of when we finally got a real grip on that. And like, as they sort of start to like peel back the layers of neglect and like the trauma. And I mean, this mom that's just like, you know, screwed off to Macau and like left an $80,000 loan shark debt behind and like is just doing her thing with, I think, Jeff or whatever his name is. Just like, the other thing that I actually super loved is at the end when we get to find out all these little details about people, like the nurse that like gives the bad news, it turns out she's a murderer. And like Mr. Linguini becomes like a social media influencer. And then they have the little commentary about how like late stage capitalism has gone too far. Mm-hmm. And like just every little detail in that sort of, and then like Francine did die, but she died happy. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, you know, like it's a nice ending where like Anne gets, you know,
A proper job for
the
her
job
skills.
of her
And yeah.
dreams. Yeah. And they live in a Malibu mansion together. And
Which I guess is from the chicken bone or the fish bone.
She's a 94 episode champion. Like she's
okay.
Like 60,000 on that first episode, and I'm not good at math, but that's like I think over 5 million. No, 60,000 times 94.
5.64 million.
Yes.
Whoa! Wow.
So you do come from a gambling family.
I really do. I mean, I'm not kidding you guys. Like we learned a lot of our counting was like playing crib and watching our like my dad hosted poker nights and grandma played and my uncle came over and like other family. Like we grew up watching everyone have poker nights. It's a thing. It's a real thing. So it's
look at you. You've got skill. You got math skills today. So who's complaining?
I mean, yeah, I've got math skills today, and thankfully, I have never learned odds. So I've never thought of myself as someone who could successfully play poker. Like, I don't know how many cards are in, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know the odds of, like, what different hands are.
I thought you would, if I was at your house and then the deck of cards came out and you would do that incredible shuffling.
The shuffle?
I
have no talent for that at all.
Okay.
No talent for that at all. No, I got nothing. I'm great at pressing the slot machine button. I'm really skilled at that. And that's about it. I don't even like it when you have to throw dice in front of people.
I don't like gambling.
I don't like when people
so
look at me
much anxiety. It's just so much anxiety. All I want is a sure thing. Like someone just give me money. Don't make me have to do odds or.
All I want is a sure thing.
It's true though.
I just don't. Hey Dubs, do you have a favorite theme, like a favorite slot machine kind of theme?
Yes.
Because when I was in Atlantic City, most of the time the casino when we walked through was empty, but 100% of the time all of the Sex in the City machines were packed with people waiting.
Yeah. So I don't tend towards those TV and film video machines. Like they're just because like part of the thing is that they want you to watch like scenes from it or something like that. Like that's just not my vibe. But I have two very like old machines that I'm hoping one day I can find. Like some casinos have these things called slot machine maps, and you can try and find a slot machine that you like, which casino might have it. So there are two specific slot machines that I have enjoyed in my life so thoroughly that I absolutely would travel almost anywhere to go play these slot machines again because they're so fun. One is a really dumb game. I wish I could remember the exact name of it, but basically I think it's called like Chicken Hatch. And like, yeah, you like a bunch of eggs hatch and then little chickens come out. Anyway, super fun. And sometimes they have like a little chicken run. Anyway, I like that one. And then the other one is a Little Shop of Horrors game where Audrey 2 comes out and like will eat a row and then the cascade will happen. And it's really, and they have a different Little Shop of Horrors slot machine game that is not as good. I like this other Little Shop of Horrors slot machine game. Those are two of my all-time favorites.
Wow. I knew that there must be like, you know, a culture of people's favorites. And I didn't realize that until going to a casino and like during the day and just seeing like people so committed to their machine.
I got to say, when I'm in Vegas, there's nothing more that I enjoy than a 10 a.m. screwdriver and some penny slots.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
Look, like I know that's not ideal, but that's why we only go for a few days. But yeah,
that is a pretty picture.
Yeah, I know.
You done well over the years?
No, of course not. I mean, the house always wins. Like you just have to go in knowing that. Plus, like, I mean, like I've had like decent times, but like, you know, I would never presume that I am hitting above what the casino has taken from me.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. I just thought one you had like a $500 or something like.
Oh yeah, I've had that. I've had like a 500, 1,000, stuff like that.
Oh really?
But,
oh okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I think the highest I've ever had is like 1,500. Whereas like other people I know have literally won like $20,000 and $30,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
But I don't play that kind of money. Like you have to be playing a certain amount of money to like get that. That's not me.
Yeah.
But if I had quiz show money,
did you stay cool when you won that 1,500, or did you like scream?
Oh, I never scream. No, I don't like it when people like freak out. Like I'm happy for them, but like I don't like it. I don't like to be sitting next to it. Sometimes when people are playing next to you, all they want to do is make sure you're watching them and whether they're winning or not. And they want to talk to you and they want to be like, oh, that didn't come up, or like, oh my God, look at this. It's great. I do not care. Your experience is your experience. Please stop talking to me. I do not go to the casino to make friends.
Whoa!
It's the one
go.
place that I do not go.
If we need a line for this podcast, that's the one.
The one place I do not go to make friends absolutely is the casino. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to hang out with you. I just want to play for an hour and then leave.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like that for trivia night as well.
But trivia night, you have to talk to people. Like, I mean, ideally, you know, but you know what I do? I like, and we have like sort of like really, you know, I like it when we host our own trivia nights. So like Lisa, when we have hosted trivia nights, like you and I have like hosted, Carlos wrote the quiz. Yeah. Like that was those
fun.
Are really fun. Like I really like those.
It's fun for you, but Carlos writes really hard questions. It's like
he's always questioning whether it's too easy.
I find he does hard questions.
I think so too.
Everybody, FYI. Yeah. In case you're considering. I don't know how often Carlos plays Quizmaster, but
I mean, he's only done it selectively. I think we'll probably do maybe another one for Doxa in the spring. But we haven't planned anything yet. But I mean, he does like it. I mean, he stresses about it because like he takes it seriously. His question writing.
I think he's very good at it. I gotta say.
I think he's good at it too. Yeah. Well, like I mean, he has continued triviaing throughout the pandemic. Like he plays online. He has like 2 leagues. Like he's like he has stayed up on his trivia throughout all of this. So I think
that's great to hear.
Yeah, like I honestly I feel like hopefully maybe one day, like if he wants to, I don't know if he does, and if he's allowed, like it would be cool if he's allowed to like enter, like try and be a Jeopardy contestant again, because I think he like deserves some redemption. He came in second, but he really should have won that day.
Why?
Oh, because the Alex prompted the other guy. He like got the question kind of wrong, and Alex prompted him and gave him like basically kind of a second chance. And then that guy went on to become a massive champion. Like he was good. I'm not saying he wasn't good, but like that day Carlos should have won, in my opinion.
Is Carlos's? Can you watch his episode anywhere?
I'm sure it's probably online somewhere. Like there are Jeopardy forums that have links to like every episode, I think, or whatever. So yeah, I'm sure.
What did Carlos share for the so Carlos Hernandez from Vancouver? I see that you've been collecting baseball cards, or what did they do?
His fun fact was about curling. And because he was in a curling league at the time, and he knew Alex liked like Canadiana kind of stuff. So I can't remember exactly what they talked about, whether like the time Carlos like basically like fell and knocked himself out on the curling rink, or like I can't remember exactly what he did, but maybe it was just the fact that he was in a curling league. I don't really know, but
right. Okay.
He had been a curler for a while at that point. So yeah.
Well,
I will say that was like it was just like really fun to like also watch the bar scene in Quiz Lady. I also just, sorry, I want to go back. Just the idea that she would go viral and like immediately like is hating Quiz Lady is racist, but liking her too much is also racist. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was just like the way that they sort of very specifically are able to like accurately capture the meme culture of like what would happen to her if she goes viral. Brilliant.
There was also that aside that every time something would happen to Jenny, Sandra Oh, her character would go, it's very hard for an Asian woman. And they she would always do that. And I thought that was really interesting.
That was really fun. And I did like it when she eventually was just like, when the, oh God, the Jason Schwartzman character is awful. And she's like, oh my God, actual racism. Like, he's just like, he's so horrible.
Yeah.
And then she's like reflecting on like the actual racism, and like just the way Sandra Oh delivers that is pitch perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sandra Oh forever, you guys. Like just like truly just delightful. I love her and Awkwafina together. Like I hope that I hope that they do more stuff. Like I think like this is like a good sort of like debut for the two of them together, but like I'd love to see them do more stuff.
Yeah, I hope they collaborate on more movies, do more buddy comedies.
Yeah. And I guess we're at the does this pop?
Yes.
Yes. But I was going to say, but I do hope for like more fun screwball comedies like this.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. But yes, it absolutely pops for me.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
100% pops.
Yeah. Oh, also the other funny thing, just casually, is I had been talking earlier that day with my grandma about like selling one's eggs, and then that became a recurring joke in the film.
Yeah. Creepy.
Like, so weird. So funny. I know. Anyway. What a time. What a time. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Also, a little shout out to another lovely Pop This listener who came. Well, technically, they didn't come up to me. I went to their table, and I was just looking at their stuff, and they were like, "I love listening to your podcast." And I was like, "Oh!" Anyway, so Rebecca at Got Craft, who walks and listens to us and likes to listen to our banter. Thanks for listening. It's
Thank you.
So nice to like say hello and like, you know, meet you and stuff like that. We're at the point where we love to say what we recommend as well as, you know, loving this movie. So that's good. Lisa, do you want to go first?
Sure. I've been really enjoying that Netflix series, The Fall of the House of Usher, which has been quite fun. So there is a through line of this family, but each of the episodes are based around an Edgar Allan Poe story.
Oh, okay.
So, they are rough, and it is gory, and it is quite something, and also filmed in Vancouver, which is quite fun. So, really enjoying it. Some really great spooky stuff if you like that. So, The Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix.
Cool. Thank you. AG, what are you recommending?
I am watching this show called, it's a short of, I think it's like a 4-part series on BritBox called The Thief, His Wife, and the Canoe. And it's based on this true story about this man named John Darwin, who in the sort of early 2000s faked his own death to claim insurance, and then tried to flee to a different country, and then decided to come back 5 years after he disappeared. And just what a total hot mess of a story that all was.
Wow, amazing.
It's a pretty incredible thing to watch, this sort of reenactment of it. This series based on a true story. It's really good. But that's on BritBox, but I imagine it's available on other sites as well, because I think it came out last year.
Cool.
Great.
Thank you. I am recommending what I have to say is maybe one of my all-time new favorite movies. If you have not yet seen it, Dix the Musical is a wild time. It is based on an off-Broadway musical called Effing Identical Twins by Josh Sharp and Aaron Jackson. The movie also stars Megan Mullally, Megan Thee Stallion, Bowen Yang, and Nathan Lane. It is so funny. And
that is a cast and a half,
Yeah.
I've got to say. Wow.
it's only 86 minutes long. It's incredibly funny. And the outtakes that they include, I would watch 18 hours of outtakes from this movie. It is the funniest thing. And you know what? I don't want to spoil anything, but I will just say it is extraordinarily vulgar, extraordinarily weird, and so fun.
Oh, I can't wait. So how do we see? It's still in theaters, or?
So I saw it at a one-off screening at the Rio. It was a pretty well attended screening. So maybe they'll bring it back. I'm not really sure. I think it is now available on video on demand. I don't know if it's like rentable or if you have to buy it, but like I actually want to buy it so I can just have screenings at my house. And if we are friends and you haven't seen it yet, and then I need you to see it. Like that's how I feel about this movie at this point. Oh
gosh, I can't wait then. Okay.
Oh my God. It's
excellent.
Wild. And
it's you should own the media that you love, because
yes,
you'll go back to it all the time.
Well, and as you can see with streaming, like things can get yanked, things come and go.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The only way like you can really hold on to something that you love and make sure it's there when you want to watch it is by owning it.
Yeah. Completely agree. Well, thanks everyone for listening. You can hang out with us online. You can email us at popthiscollective@gmail.com. And if you'd like, rate and review us 5 stars.
We love 5 stars. And thank you to Andrea Gin, who is our co-host here and producer. And thank you all for listening. And hope you enjoy watching Quiz Lady. And that's easy to find, at least.
Yeah. Go watch Quiz Lady.
Yeah.
And then just make it a double feature with Dix the Musical if you can.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Or Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's
I love that movie.
Yeah,
seasonal,
exactly.
seasonal movie.
Perfect movie.
That's good too.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.